No, anyway, what we're doing here, Phantom randomly one day decided to say to me we should do a podcast, whether he was joking or not. We were just because we were having a good back and forth on Discord. And what was it? Like a month or two later, I brought it up again.
Yeah, it was a give or take about a month or so.
Yeah, and then you brought it up again like a couple days ago, I think, or yesterday. I lose track of time sometimes, especially with the stuff that happened with me yesterday. I lose all track of time. But yeah, so that's what's going on with this. We're just taking a crack at it. We're gonna put this up. He sounds like he wants to do it on a what you said, monthly or bi-monthly basis.
Yeah, monthly or bi-monthly. I mean, because it's like it's not to the point where we're going to be able to get together, all the time and sit down and kind of discuss things. It just so happens that, a lot of stuff just happened recently and it was pretty big on a lot of fronts. So it was kind of the perfect storm to sit down and talk about it. But
yeah, so we're going to sit around and talk about game stuff and stuff like that. And you told me before you've had like experience in gaming on the dev side.
Oh yeah, so like way back in the early days of mobile, I used to work for Sony Pictures Entertainment. So I was part of their actual mobile division. So we made a ton of stuff, and we actually made the little to unknown game God of War Betrayal, which was on a old school like Java phone, so like your old flip phones and all that. This was long before the App Store and all of that. So I was part of that team. Met David Jaffe out of that. That was kind of a real surreal experience. Yeah, I mean, he was just as cool as you would think. And this was like right before, like right when the God of War 2 beta was coming out.
Just to make sure I got the name right, is this Twisted Metal Jaffe?
Yeah, that's exactly correct.
All right, that guy's interesting.
Mm-hmm. He's a strange cat, but he's really cool. He was very nice when I met him. And it was kind of offhand. He was just there basically overlooking assets kind of as the, the check mark of things. But he didn't really have any like big hand in the development at all. But yeah, I used to do that. So Q&A and all that kind of stuff. And then, did some associate producing. So, that, and for you, like that's the reason why when I get into your chat I'm like so damn nitpicky. It's because it's like I have an idea of what game design should be, and I'm not saying that my ideas and my thoughts are ever 100% correct.
Just a second. When he says, I want everybody to know when he says nitpicky, he's understating it. I could try to defend a game on the stupidest point jokingly. And this man goes off on me. Like, because he's so damn, I want to call it passionate. He doesn't ever sound mad when he goes off on me. But he's just like, no, that's BS. I know they can do this.
And I mean, but it's the truth. It's like, I am passionate because, games, like, well, I'll pick on Animal Crossing. Like, how is it that we've had so many, versions of Animal Crossing and you still can't take the concept of like how you rearrange your house? Why is it that I have to go outside and not have something like that? They've proven that you can kind of like, turn something on with the app for terraforming. It's like, why don't you make the terraforming app similar to how it is inside the house? All you got to do is just turn it on so the game knows that you're in that particular mode, and you can do that. So it's like, but they don't, and it's all these like little minor things, and that's old school like Japanese game design. Japanese game design is just like oof, because we'll get to that with the FGC.
Yeah,
when we
with
get down.
the Street Fighter stuff later. Yeah,
we'll cross that bridge, but like.
But yeah, I just wanted to get that across so I know about that. Anybody else that listens to this later or right now or whatever just knows that you actually know what you're talking about. I'm just talking out my ass most of the time just because of experience with games over the last, I don't remember how freaking long. My parents made the mistake of putting a controller in my hand when I was 2 or younger. I don't remember. So
I would even argue though that, even if you don't have like background in it, just your knowledge of playing games is enough. Now, certain things you could probably debate on, but I mean, ultimately, that's what it is. It's like, it's case in point, right? If you like Modern Warfare because of doors, I particularly don't. That's just a game design decision, right? That's not necessarily, you could argue that point. It's not necessarily my concept of it is correct. I would just think that it's just bad design, but neither here nor there. You may be talking out of your butt, but you still have merit for it. So it's not like you're trying to critique some sort of football coach when you have zero experience in coaching and other things.
Armchair quarterbacking.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yay! I know a phrase.
But so to go on topic, we've got like a total of like 9 different things, and if this runs a little long, we'll cut some of the ones out that aren't that interesting. At least that I didn't think was interesting. I tried to give us a wide range of stuff so that we could be able to kind of throw things back, so it's not just like well, this happened and okay, next topic. So it's hopefully it's we can expand on it, but I don't think we're gonna have any issues with that.
Well, but I'm not sitting with a time constraint. I don't have anything else to do with my time. I don't know about you, but
not necessarily today, but I can ramble, so I try to make my point and kind of get in and get out without being too rambly, unless you bring up a good counterpoint, and then I can kind of play off of that. But I don't want to be talking about COD 2020 for 30 minutes when there's really not that much to talk about. And in fact, as I say that, there's probably stuff going on with that reveal. But again, later on we'll talk about that.
That's today.
That's today.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, let's get going with the rest of the stuff, because I know you'll launch onto COD pretty hard.
Up. That's from yesterday. Yeah, well, I'm seeing if there's anything that came up. So it says day 2 teasers and all these. So all the influencers are going bananas with it. But anyway, so the thing I really wanted to talk about, like more so than anything else, was the Halo Infinite announcements. Mm-hmm. First off being the delay to 2021, and then the overall announcement of it being free to play. So I got some talking points. I'm curious, just before I even kind of say my piece on it. What is your thought on the delay? Like, what do you think of?
I don't know if it was warranted or not. I mean, I haven't seen it other than the campaign trailer that they showed during the Xbox event, whatever the heck they wanted to call it, their direct or here's our shinies thing. I did not see an issue with the way it looked. A lot of people were complaining about the I guess the appearance of the game, and it looked boring to them, or it looked graphically worse than the other games.
It looked like Halo to me.
Yeah, it looked exact. It was reminding me of Halo 1, the remaster or remake, whatever they did a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was getting all kinds of feelings of the first Halo off of it. I was slightly interested in the campaign while that thing was going on, despite what I was saying while I was live watching it. I was a little bit interested in it, just from the appearance alone. I was a little bit more excited at what it meant for multiplayer, and I kind of wish they'd have showed that when they showed the campaign. But part of me kind of thinks their delay would be because of the multiplayer.
Yeah, so, regarding the delay, Phil Spencer went on an Animal Crossing treehouse event that Nintendo hosted, which is bizarre, but relationship with Nintendo and Microsoft has been pretty big lately, so but it was just a weird setup for him to be on there. But anyways, he announced effectively that it was to make it to where parts of the game are not split. So that's absolutely 1000% true, like what you said. With there's always a team. It's not one dev team working on the single player first and then the multiplayer. It's two different groups. You have your single player campaign guys, you have your multiplayer guys who are creating the map. It's a whole effort. So it seems like one of the areas is lagging, and I would assume it's probably the multiplayer, since they
didn't show it.
Right. And that seems to be kind of like the big thing right now, of not showing off certain multiplayer events, certain multiplayer heavy games. COD 2020. But it's the fact that they're not really kind of blowing the doors out with this game is odd. So there's definitely something up, and I don't know if it's the pandemic or whatever, but I just think, personally, and I'll go on record as saying this, I have not been a fan of Halo since 343 has taken over. The last game of Halo that I got into and I enjoyed was Halo 3. So we're going back a ways for me personally. And even then, Halo 3, for me, online, wasn't that great. I enjoyed Halo 3 mainly because of playing with a friend of mine through the campaign. And I got a story I can tell for another day, but it was just effectively, we got into an infinite death loop.
Oh, fun!
On one of the levels, but it was the funniest damn thing ever, because we just could not do it, and the game would just insta reset, and it was just dead. And so just think of the guy from Halo just being like dead.
Yeah, I was about to ask you if you guys got the full effect with the announcer telling you were dying.
Yes, and it was very funny, and we tried, because we were very far into the game, and we didn't have a save, or we didn't have something, and so we had to get out of it. We were able to get out of it. It took a lot of effort, but we got out of it. But as far as the game is concerned, it's like, I didn't like some of the changes that they made, and then I thought that once Bungie pulled out to do Destiny, the game was pretty much dead to me. Not that 343 is bad or anything, but just
the first one 343 worked on was 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I played the campaign for 4. Did not enjoy it, especially the end of it. It felt really phoned in to me for whatever reason. I think it's the I guess new race. I don't remember if they were in that before. But the end of it felt like a generic. Here's boss rush mode. Like, here's a bunch of stuff thrown at you, run around the map and click things as you go. I may be confusing it with something else, but that's probably because if I am, that's probably because I've banished it from my mind, because I have a habit of forgetting things in games I do not like. But the multiplayer, I loved the multiplayer in 4. Just like 5, I love the multiplayer in 5. I've been sitting around for so long hoping they add Halo 4, 5, just for the multiplayer to Steam. So
I was going to say, I'm sorry, not to interrupt. Go ahead.
So you can see where I'd be excited for Halo Infinite's multiplayer, and then disappointed when they didn't show it. Because I'm only in it now for the multiplayer. I have no interest in their campaign.
That's the same for a lot of people, and it harkens back to the original being the multiplayer like craze that it was, even with no real internet back when, and it being like a LAN game. It was fantastic. But it's like, as far but my campaign, as far as the delay is concerned, I am not concerned with that for the game. I always stand behind a developer wanting to take the time to polish their game to do what they need to do, because it's like,
oh yeah, definitely, because you'd rather it come out working just fine rather than a glitch fest and they start looking like Bethesda.
yeah, exactly. I mean, they pushed back Final Fantasy VII a month to, or Final Fantasy VII remake, just to be clear, but a month to help polish just whatever they needed to polish. I mean, a month isn't really that long, so it could have just been some sort of delay, just for
no
disc reasons.
I need to correct something real quick. Bethesda did not invent Glitch Fest. ET invented Glitch Fest. Anyway, continue.
So, but just the fact that they're delaying it is not a problem. Now it's going to come to something that we're going to talk about, which is the problem. The next thing that was announced is that it's going to be free to play. Now, I don't know if that's the multiplayer. I haven't really read up on it a lot.
From what I've read, just the multiplayer is free to play.
That is really concerning to me. Now, I say that because of things like Warzone, Call of Duty Warzone.
Mm-hmm.
That is a hacker paradise. I don't play it. I haven't played it in a little bit, but I still see it. It's like the reports of just cheaters and other things on there is bad, really bad. And I would assume that Halo is going to fall underneath that same thing, especially if it comes out day and date for the Series X, whenever the hell that happens, and for the PC, because it's going to have some sort of crossplay.
Yeah, any game with big multiplayer is going to fall victim. That's on PC at least is going to fall victim to hackers. I mean, hell, Fall Guys did it. It has it going on from time to time. They have speed hackers. I don't know why you'd want to cheat at that game, but there you go. But yeah, that's a little bit of a concern for myself too. You're definitely going to get people hacking on it if it's a free to play game. It's likely either way for just being multiplayer, but you're definitely going to get it on free to play. And I just hope they don't do the Fall Guy thing and they have anti-cheat right at the beginning or some measure. As we all know how serious people get with Halo multiplayer.
Yeah, that is the concern that I have, with the fact that, it is such a high profile game. How bad is it going to be? And, it's like, is it going to effectively, I don't want to say ruin the multiplayer, but will it ruin the multiplayer? And is 343 even remotely ready to, deal with this in mass? That's my concern.
Because if it happens, it's going to happen a lot. It's not just going to be here and there.
No, it's Halo. It's the same thing that happened with, Warzone. Warzone's kind of, it's its own thing, but it's like you can kind of write it off. It's its own separate entity from the regular 6v6 multiplayer, from like the normal three mode setup that Call of Duty's been doing for a long time. In this case, with Modern Warfare 2019 being the single player, Spec Ops, and then the multiplayer. So it's just like I'm just worried about it. And Malik in the chat is saying, of course they won't be ready. And yeah, you know what, man, I agree. I know they're not going to be ready. It's just that optimistic nature where I'm hoping that something's going to be different. I don't want to be right. I want them to, have something. But it doesn't matter what system it is. If you're VAC banning, if you're using BattleEye, like no matter what you do, there's always going to be that problem. And that's unfortunate. One of the unfortunate aspects of, crossplay being what it is. It's like, I am not a big proponent of crossplay, not because of what it can do for the communities. I think that aspect is fan-flippantastic, but the concept of always having to deal with, PC people, because a lot of the time you're going to run into those issues. I had that problem with Warzone a lot of just getting insta headshotted from a hacker.
You get
and
most people, their first thought with that kind of thing with crossplay is fairness and mouse keyboard versus controller. There's a lot more than just that.
It's not
saying, like you're saying this whole time. There's hackers. You've got to get hackers with crossplay all the time. If PC's involved.
I mean, mouse and keyboard isn't even like in fact, the better thing for you to do for Warzone or Call of Duty in general, with crossplay being a thing, is plug a controller into a computer. You have better resolution, better graphics, so on and so forth. So you're able to do more, see more. Your refresh rate, is better, and you get all the concept or all the aspect of having the auto aim.
Yeah, you
controller. Like if you're just trying to snap, controller is king. Now, if you're trying to do precise like distance stuff and you're trying to, it's like mouse and keyboard is going to be your better bet.
Right.
And of course, you have the outliers like Shroud, who is just stupid. He could snipe me sitting here not even playing a game at his computer because he's so stupid. But I feel like that free to play thing, man. I understand Microsoft, and this is kind of segueing into the next topic, so it kind of segues nicely. Microsoft's concept of making it to where everybody can play. We'll just say Halo across all aspects of the Microsoft ecosystem.
Yeah,
I don't.
You're talking about how all their games are releasing on pretty much PC and Xbox the same day.
Yeah, and so specifically the topic that I wanted to talk on is Halo Infinite. I don't want to just keep calling it Halo. Halo Infinite was supposed to be that launch title, because it's like when they had what E3 or whatever it was last year, or some event or whatnot, and they showed off Halo just in trailer form, and it was like holiday 2020, and people are like, oh my gosh, Halo is a launch title, gotta get me a Series X.
It's their system seller. Everybody erupted for that. It's what they're known for. It's when you think Xbox, the first thing that pops into your head is usually Halo.
So that's kind of like now. They did that, and it was like, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna sell you this Series X, and you're gonna get Halo on it. And then from then until now, it's like they've done, I don't want to say a 180, and it is good consumer practice, like it's good for the overall consumer, but it's not really good for their own brand. Like they're not going to sell systems by basically having everything available on PC. And it's like, it's not everybody. It's not, you're not going to be able to be like, oh yeah, everybody's going to totally get it on PC, because people don't have the money for it. They don't buy PCs all the time, or PC parts all the time. They buy a console once every generation, and sometimes it's even at the end of that. Like a friend of mine, she doesn't buy her console until like late. Like she'd buy a PS4 right now, and then just reap the benefits of all the games that came out, like all the single player stuff, and so on and so forth, and just spend the next 6 years just playing stuff on a PS4 at the end of its life cycle, and then get everything when it's like super cheap. So that's how some people operate too. I understand that not everybody's going to have money day and date to buy all this stuff.
Yeah, so they're really not helping themselves with that thing. I mean, I say that almost every time I get into a discussion with somebody about the whole console war thing. They'll bring up, are you PS4 or Xbox? Why would I be Xbox right now? I have a gaming PC. Everything they release on Xbox for the last, I don't know, 2 years, I believe, has gone to PC the same day. They even have the Xbox Game Pass working on PC.
Right, and now they're not even calling it the Xbox Game Pass. They've changed the name of that to, I think it's just
games with
the
gold
Microsoft
or something.
game. Yeah, some nonsense to pull.
They're not really baiting you with very much anymore. If you don't have the only reason I see to get an Xbox anymore is that you don't have a gaming PC. You don't want to get a gaming PC, and you don't want to put up with having to take components in and out of a computer. If you're just that used to reaching over and pressing the on button on your controller or on your console, which is pretty much the same thing with a PC, so I don't understand that one. If you just really love having a I hate to take it down to this level, but if you just really love having a brick sitting in your living room, is really the only reason to get an Xbox anymore. Why would you get an Xbox when you could have something potentially more powerful than it to play those same games on?
Yeah, so it's like kind of the question is, what the hell is this console supposed to be about? Like who is this console for? Because it's not. We already proven this particular generation that the more underpowered system, in this case the PlayStation 4, is the console to have picked up because of the exclusives. Microsoft really missed the boat on all of this for this generation, and even it's like them promoting the Series or the Xbox One X, which is a friggin' mouthful to say.
Yeah,
but like even with that, the most powerful console.
Yeah, that's all they've got going for them. Every time you ask them what their console has going for it, is we have this many teraflops and this much RAM and this much going on, and our controller. Look at how many angles are on this controller. I mean, I guess really the only thing I can think that they've got going on right at the moment, other than power, that they've got over PlayStation 5 is their controllers from Xbox One are going to work with the next Xbox.
I mean, and that's a fair point, and I will concede that point. But also, like, the difference being is that Sony is coming out with a new controller.
Yeah,
it's like there's nothing new in and I let me put big air quotes around new for Sony. It's having haptic feedback and a better freaking battery in your controller isn't really much, but
it looks like the Nintendo Switch's Pro controller.
It really does.
Like size, shape, it's just white with a touchpad in the middle of it.
Yeah, and they took out the light bar because they're probably going to release their better controller for.
Personally, just to get it out of my system, I think the new PlayStation controller's ugly. I don't like the way the controller looks. I don't like the color. I don't want to be putting my freaking hands on it, my dirty ass hands.
I think the console itself looks awful.
Yeah.
Like if we're gonna discuss that,
all those memes.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I think it's unique for sure, but it's like it is not something that I really am like, yeah, because like when they saw the PlayStation 4, I was like, that's pretty slick. It's like with the I guess I don't even know what type of shape it technically would be. But just the overall design when they launched it, I was like, that's pretty slick looking. And then, it's like, because the Xbox, what?
PlayStation knows I'm talking about them. They just send me a notification to download PS Plus games.
There you go.
Why is my phone listening to me that much?
It's all part of the ecosystem. But, going to finish off the Xbox thing, it's like, my question to Microsoft is, who is this console for? Because with all the rumors of the Xbox Series S, which is supposed to be the smaller, like, next Xbox at a cheaper price, it's like, who are you trying to, get with this
Malik
market.
said it in the chat, and I think I agree with him. It's for casual gamers. I think, and the thought just occurred to me just now, I think it's one of those things your grandparents get you for your birthday. They see the name, they see Xbox, whatever that, what is it called again? Xbox Series.
It's supposed to be called Xbox Series S.
Okay, Xbox Series S. What the hell? Xbox Series S. It looks like one of those things that, like, your grandparents or your parents that aren't into games at all get you for your birthday or on Christmas. Well, when they see it sitting there in the display case with all the other gaming stuff.
I mean, all that is going to tell me is that Microsoft doesn't really have an identity. And you know what? Overall, my response about the Series X is this, and it has been. I want to see games. And I know you don't tend to swear too much, and this will probably be the only time I do it. Where are the fucking games? That's the one F-bomb I'm going to drop today, because I'll try to keep it clean.
I've said ass 3 or 4 times, and you've said butt like 5. So you're not even close to me yet.
So,
but continue.
But like, where are the games? Like, you're trying to promote this system as being this all-powerful thing, and we're not even really seeing any true gameplay.
Yeah,
because at least I want to say this about the Sony gameplay reveal with Ratchet and Clank. People were like, "Oh my god, the game's running at 30 frames per second, and it's really glitchy." And I'm just like, "Yeah, but guess what? That's true to life. It's running on the hardware."
Yeah,
and it's on a PC. But if the PC is pushing, if it's running on a PC and it's lagging, it's probably the same dev kit that they're actually working on. I want to see that stuff. I want to be like, hey, that's real.
It's running on the platform. They got it working. Sadly, it's more than you could say for a lot of games that have been coming out lately. And then it's an exclusive. They're showing something new. People wanted it. If you don't like it, there's another game for you.
Yeah, it's just, again, it's like
what you were saying with the exclusives. I totally agree with that. Their entire last presentation, it'd either say Xbox launch exclusive or Microsoft exclusive, and then you'd see at the bottom, releasing on Windows at the same day, same day release on Windows. What? You guys aren't showing us anything new. Everything, maybe 2 things said Microsoft exclusive, and it was Halo. And I don't remember the other things. That's how bad their presentation was. I don't remember the other games.
I mean, they showed off Halo and they showed off Tetris. Tetris is a good grab.
Okay, well there you go, Tetris. But that's already on PS4. That's already. I think it's on Epic. I don't know if it's on Steam, but Oculus has it as well. The only thing they got, other than Halo, the only thing they got me with, because everybody knows I'm a Tetris nerd. The only other thing they got me with was the Tetris Effect thing, and that's because Xbox is getting the multiplayer thing before the other platforms do, and that's something my Tetris nerd self has been yelling about with Tetris Effect since day one.
Yeah, but it's so the counterpoint to that is, even with the multiplayer coming to it, it's like it's going to come to it first. It's not exclusive. So if I'm that type of guy, I'd just be like, well, screw it. I'm going to just wait till it comes on my PlayStation.
I can wait, I think, but I can't wholeheartedly say that because how much I like Tetris. Now, I know that's not a big portion of the gaming community, so I don't know that that's a big get. I don't see people running around yelling, "Give me Tetris." And I still never understand why people come in and watch me playing the game and they're like, "Wow, you're fast at it." Dude, I'm like the slowest of the fast people. Why are you amazed by me?
it's because Tetris is one of those games that has been around forever. It's like you ask people, it's like, hey, have you heard of Tetris? People are like, you could probably find somebody if they don't brush you off in the first place. Who'd be like, yeah, you talking about that like block game? People know what it is, and people are interested in seeing others play it. It's just they don't know how ridiculous the community actually is. Especially like watch if you see how people play Tetris 99. It's just like holy crap.
I love the looks on people's faces when I'm talking to. With the rare times I talk to people in public, when I'm talking about Tetris and I tell them there's Tetris grandmasters, and they look at me like, wait, what? Is it like martial arts? It's like, yeah, there's somebody sitting around at the top of a hill in a temple all by themselves in like orange robes with a red sash across their chest with a Game Boy. They're playing Tetris on the OG Game Boy.
No, they constantly move blocks all day. That's all they ever do.
But there's Tetris grandmasters. So there's people that. That's why I'm surprised when people say the thing. I know I'm trailing off, but when people are amazed by how fast I go, look up a grandmaster.
Yeah, no kidding.
They will destroy me in seconds.
So, I mean, ultimately what it comes down to, like with the Series X, and Halo being delayed, it's kind of like, what is their killer app that is going to make me want to get this thing day one? And I don't think there is one. And that's going to be a problem for them to push systems. But a bigger problem for both Sony and Microsoft, which they are both doing, and it's driving me friggin' crazy, is this back and forth cat and mouse nonsense.
Before you continue, and this might play into this next thing you're talking about,
sure.
I doubt they'll do it. I don't know how many people would agree with me, but I think it's in Microsoft's best interest to delay the launch of the Xbox.
Oh, okay. I'm curious about that. Why do you say that?
Well, because they've got nothing going for it right now. It's exactly what you were saying. With Halo being delayed, what's a system seller on it? There's really not anything else on it. I think they would do a little bit better to either wait till spring or till the next holiday season and release it with at least 3 exclusives, in air quotes exclusives. The Halo being one of them.
So, I mean, my only counter to that, and I don't disagree, but I mean, just playing devil's advocate, like, with the cat and mouse that they're doing, both groups are just being real cautious about what they do, because Microsoft doesn't want to do what they did with their last system launch and be like, we're going to have DRM. And then all of a sudden, Sony just releases a video and it's like, "Here's our DRM a-hole."
I remember that was something I was going to bring up too. Is I remember that video from E3. It's PlayStation came on later that day, and you got two of their officials there passing a game between each other. But,
yeah, and I mean that was a big deal. And I mean, of course, 7 years later, there's a lot of people who don't even, they don't buy anything that is not digital. I mean, myself and my wife have gone full digital, but they were ahead of their time, and they weren't at the same time.
I hate to interrupt you and stop you again for a second, but I know how unprofessional this is. My eyes are turning yellow. I need to take a quick break.
All right, no problem.
If you want to keep talking to people in the chat, they'll still be able to hear you. So go for it. So I will be right back.
Okay. So, while he steps away, the thing that's driving me crazy specifically, and we can rehash this later on, is just all I want to know for both of these things is the overall pricing, the games, the launch, and just like the launch window, and I want to see the UI. Now, I know that's a lot, and if I had to narrow it down to just 2, I want to see the pricing, and I want to know the launch date, because if these things, what are the PlayStation 4 launch at? Like $400, like $399. So plus tax, we're talking like $450-ish. It's I don't have that kind of disposable money just to burn, and I want to be able to save up. but I'm not going to just sock away all this extra money, to make sure that I'm over the price or over the hill on the, the total cost. I want to know what it is so I can, make sure I'm good now. And yeah, I mean, I know that they're looking at like 400 to 500, but it's like that's what they're looking at. And every time I check the internet, there is a new thing saying PlayStation 5 is going to be $399. Oh, it's going to be $299. We don't even know what we're doing. So it gets to a point where it's just like they just need to release it. It is, as of the recording of this stream/podcast, it is August 14th at 2 p.m. my time. We're getting close. We're getting into those stretches where people are going to start, buying stuff for Christmas and, needing to plan and other things. So it's just crazy that this hasn't been announced. It's like Sony and or Microsoft need to just come out and just pull the trigger and let the other one, do what they're going to do. So, or at least start really, hammering out what is going to happen. That's just the thing that has been driving me crazy about all of this stuff as of late. It's like, and to kind of talk about what Miss Shark was talking before he stepped away with delaying the console. If they delay the console, Sony is going to. So if Microsoft came out today and said, we're going to move the Series X back to March of 2021 to give our developers more time to make the games that we want, and yada, yada, yada. They give some BS marketing spiel. So let's say they do that today. If they do that, Sony is going to instantly pull the trigger and say, we launch on October 25th or whatever the date might be. Don't quote me on that date. But they go, we're launching in October. And that just screws everything, because that pulls the headline away from Microsoft and just puts it square on Sony's lap. So the only thing that anybody's ever going to see is the PlayStation 5 is launching on this date. And they're not going to care about the delay for this Series X, even though they're like, hey, if you buy a Series X, we'll give you free games for life, but we got to delay it until, May of next year. It's like they could have some crazy headline like that, and it's no one would even pay attention.
That's something I had thought about. I've been sitting here since you started the talking about Miss Shark said the delay thing. That's something I would fully expect Sony to do, to capitalize on it immediately. And it's part of the cat and mouse thing. It's part of the game they play, the back and forth. But I feel like, and I'm not trying to play favorites, I feel like Microsoft, at least the Xbox division, has backed themselves into a corner. Their console doesn't have a whole lot going for it because of what we talked about earlier. There's not really any exclusives for it anymore. They've lost their big billboard launch title for a few months, or it might be longer than that. Hopefully they don't pull a Final Fantasy VII and it takes so damn long to come out. I mean, but by the way, if it takes that damn long to come out and it comes out the way Final Fantasy VII did, more power to them. I could gush about that game all frickin' day.
Me too. I know.
If it takes them that damn long to put it out, and then just, I really don't see them not getting hurt either way with what's going on here. They're both sitting there, and I'm really thinking their game plan right at the moment is wait for Sony to announce their price and then jump 100 down.
Yeah, and I mean, Sony is aware of that. And I just want to point out something, Malik saying that Halo will sell. It's like, yeah, that's not the problem. I mean, software is your moneymaker, but you got to remember a console launch, you lose excessive amounts of money. Like excessive. And one of the things that the PlayStation was struggling with when they were making the PS5 was the cooling and the fan that they had to have in there, because you think of components and other things inside of these systems, and how much something costs, which is the reason why it doesn't. Everybody's like, oh, well, why doesn't my Xbox have a 5 terabyte hard drive when my PC does? Rabble, rabble, rabble. And it's because you got to think of it cost per system. It's like you can't put these things in there. They got to make a profit at some point. And every single console launch, with a major console from PlayStation or Microsoft, excuse me, I should use the console name correctly, from PlayStation or the Xbox, they always lose money. So it's like they can't just launch this system and lose money for 6 months while, Halo isn't on the shelves. They need to push Halo and the console because that's what you need at a launch. It has been proven time and time again that people are only going to buy 1 to 2 games at launch because they're already horking down a huge sum of money, not to mention if they want to buy another controller and all this other crap that they have to get.
The whole thing with them selling it, the price they sell it at, everybody's learned from the mistakes Sony made with PlayStation 3.
Mm-hmm.
With the PlayStation 3 launch, when they tried to launch it with the full backwards compatibility and how much that thing cost because it had whatever the DVD drive that played the PS2 games. When they tried to launch it, what was it, $800 at launch, I think?
No, it was $599 US, to quote whatever the hell his name is.
Whatever it was expensive for a console at that time. Like way too expensive.
Oh, it was excessively expensive.
It was a lot more than the 360, and that's what hurt PlayStation 3 at the beginning. I'm sure, because PlayStation 3 did fine at the end of the life cycle, but at the beginning of it, they screwed themselves with the price. The only thing that made up for it was the backwards compatibility, but still that price.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like with the backwards compatibility, it's like that's only way back when the PlayStation 3 launched. Younger me was like, oh man, backwards compatibility. How many times did I actually use that? How many times did I take a PlayStation 1 disc and put it into that system? Now, granted, if I was a big streamer or whatnot, like some people here on Twitch, and I'm trying to play like old school games, that PlayStation 3 would be a freaking godsend. But I'm not, and I can tell you just by looking at my right hand the amount of times that I actually put a PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2 disc in that thing. I don't for me personally, this is not everybody, but when I buy a system, I am not looking to play old games on that new system. Again, not everybody, but it's not a seller for me. I don't technically want to go back and play, and some of the games that Microsoft has up there, they have some good titles. Let's not get it twisted. But some of them are just like, why would I want to play that? And also we have, rose tinted glasses at certain things where it's like, man, that was a great game. It's like, no. Some of these older games, go back and play Siphon Filter on the PS1. Just load that bad boy up. That game used to be my freaking jam. I could talk to you about how much I love that game. Holy hell, I can't play it anymore. It is just horrific for the controls. And it's at the time. So why would I want to go back and play something like that? Like backwards compatibility. I think backwards compatibility is very important right at the time of the console switch, because if I get my PS5 and I put it down and I want to play Assassin's Creed, but it hasn't come out on the PS5 yet, I can load it up onto my, my new shiny system and I'm good. But anything beyond that, I don't want to play a PlayStation 4 game in 2024. I want the new hotness. Like that's what I want. Again, not everybody.
That's the majority of the market. There's not as many people running around wanting the backwards compatibility as people would think. I mean, I'm one of those people that wants the backwards compatibility because I'd really love to pop some PS2 games in there and get going on those. But that's the nostalgia talking. I could probably do without it. I've done without it this long on the PS4.
Yeah.
I mean, now that's a different story when I start talking about Nintendo, but...
Well, I mean, just since you're talking about Nintendo and you ended up, we haven't really touched on them too much, so we're about to rip into them. I
sit here playing Mario Kart.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's only fair. I
changed the just chatting a few minutes ago. Just
you are more versed in like Nintendo stuff than I am. I'm a more casual Nintendo guy. Like if you were to, really approach me and ask me, I'm uber casual with this type of stuff. But I want you to explain the whole trolling thing that they've been doing as of late.
I don't necessarily know if it's trolling or ignorance with them. I can't tell. I really can't, because you've got the one example we're sitting on right now. I mean, other than the one I showed you yesterday, the one example we're sitting on right now, Mario Kart. I don't know why it's going on. I have a very strong suspicion, and I think I'm correct. People have been demanding Waluigi for Smash Brothers for so long, and I think it's spilling over into other places. Nintendo, for whatever reason, will put Waluigi in every other freaking game. But not Smash Brothers. He's in there as a trophy. People want him playable. Like, he's an assist trophy in that. But every other game they put out that has Mario something, you will see Waluigi in there somewhere, or some kind of reference. Where I was going with the Mario Kart thing is, people in this, my brother noticed it earlier when I was playing it. There's a buttload of Waluigi players. There's people demanding it left and right. And that's what I'm saying. I think Nintendo is trolling with that sort of thing. They put him in other games, but they don't put him in Smash. Now, the other thing I was talking about was the rumor for the Mario 35th anniversary thing, Mario All-Stars 2, or whatever they're going to call it. It's been a rumor flying around that the 3D Mario games, Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, Mario Galaxy, Mario 3D World, or whatever it's called, Super Mario 3D World, the one with the cat suit.
Right.
We're all, maybe except for that last one, gonna get put into a collection. But why him? Because the internet, Malik. That we're all going to be put into a collection for Mario's 35th anniversary. A few days ago, Nintendo tweets a picture of Mario sitting on the beach in a one of those I forget what they're called, beach chairs, one of those reclining beach.
We know what you're talking about.
No, not a bikini. Hell no. But Mario's sitting beachside, and I can't remember exactly what the tweet said, but when you see Mario on a beach in a tropical area, first thing that pops into your head is probably going to be Mario Sunshine. I don't know whether that's them trying to go like, hey, we might be releasing that, or that it's just them like, hey, it's summer, let's put a summer picture up. So, yeah, that's why they do that kind of thing all the time, where they'll tease something with a picture, or not necessarily tease, but they'll post a picture on their social media pages, and it always has something to do with something people are clamoring for, but then they don't acknowledge it later.
I mean, for Nintendo, they do this all the time. They'll go months, weeks, so on, without kind of saying anything.
Well,
I mean,
we
haven't heard nothing on Metroid 4, or Metroid Prime 4, excuse me. Let's make sure we're being clear on that too. The last update we got was that it was going to be delayed. And everybody was like, cool, take your time. But also, we want to know, like, what the hell is going on with it? show me something.
They said recently, and I wish I had gone and found the tweet for it just so I could quote it exactly, but there was something recently from them, and I don't know whether it was a tweet or it was a Game Explained video, that they're not wanting to show things until they know they're about ready or they're about done and they know when they can release them. But I don't know if I like that. Like I'd like to see some kind of, like, I don't know, a screenshot or a teaser image or box art.
I think in, the current setup, like in 2020, and how E3 has kind of, evolved into nothingness, I guess is a good way of saying it. I mean,
it's more a fan convention than anything now.
Yeah, but it's like you don't need to have things ready to show for a convention. Not anymore.
Not to mention the fact that Nintendo doesn't really even participate that much in E3 in the first place.
Right. I mean, they pulled out of E3 like what, 5 years ago? Nah. Yeah, I'll just say I'll just make it at 5 years.
5 or more, close enough.
Yeah, and it makes more sense. It's cost effective for them to do the directs. It's cost effective for them to do, and it's like these companies with COVID are finally figuring out that, oh yeah, we don't need to do any of this. We don't need to make shirts. We don't need to have huge, booth girls lining the freaking red carpets. It's not necessary. But the thing that comes with that is you gotta show off your game more frequently, and that's really all people want. Like, everybody is chomping at the bit for COD 2020 because there's nothing. This is we're into the mid-August. Usually by this time for COD, we're like getting ready for the beta, where we've already had like 9,000 announcement trailers.
It's weird, but this sorry for interrupting you, but it's weird. But
this
whole thing with the Corona thing, where everybody's holding their stuff back because they don't want to get in large gatherings, it might be working in these companies' favor because they let like a rumor slip or a leak slip, or they mention something themselves, and hype just builds and builds and builds and builds. And it doesn't. You don't get the video when you expected it, like June or July when E3 would normally occur. You have to wait a little bit longer. And I mean, until the point where you're there, just like edge of your seat. Is it coming out today? Then it doesn't. Then you stop expecting it, and then just bam, upside the head, there it is. Trailer. Like, I didn't know about the COD thing. Maybe it's because I'm not into it as much, and I don't care, but.
So it's I gotta pull myself out of using so. I can tell I'm jumping on that word consistently, and it's driving me crazy. What I did want to point out with these social media groups and other people doing this, they need to either, one, troll. Like, you can troll pretty hard and, like you said, start this hype train. I don't remember whom it was. I would like to give the credit where credit is due. But I saw a YouTube video the other day, and it was talking about how this particular COD 2020 stuff is
I did that wrong.
Is specifically similar to something that Treyarch did like 10 years ago. And it's kind of interesting to see them go back to this and the marketing campaign, and I'm going to move from, Nintendo to COD, since it's just kind of naturally flowing into that, even though COD was more towards the bottom of our talking points. But with COD 2020, they are effectively using Warzone as their marketing tool, and using YouTubers as their big marketing push. And it's just interesting to see how they're handling this, because they had an investor call like a week and a half ago, and in the call, and you can go up and look up and listen to the investors call, it's kind of interesting that all of that is public record. But they effectively said that, Warzone is, a new way for the developers to reach the community and kind of unify the community, so to speak, because with this particular game coming out, whenever it happens to come out, Treyarch is going to be doing they're going to be doing assets for Warzone, and it's basically going to flip-flop from Infinity Ward and Treyarch with Raven in the middle. So Raven Software is the group that's effectively handling like the heavy lifting of the the development, and then Infinity Ward and Treyarch put in their 2 cents, and they have design control and stuff like that, but they're not the ones full on doing everything. At least that's my understanding about it. But it's just crazy to me that how they are marketing this game. They're marketing this next game through their own game. That's just weird.
I think it's a kind of a clever way to do it. I mean, they've got pretty. I mean, all kinds of attention on it. I mean, the bigger. I always see some of the bigger streamers here on Twitch doing it. You've got thousands of eyes on the game already. You've shown that you could change things in there for events over a weekend. Why not advertise the next thing?
I mean, I don't disagree. Warzone is the Fortnite of Call of Duty.
I think it's funny that it took Fortnite for people to realize that battle royale kind of games were interesting.
So, well, with COD 2020 specifically, I'll jump in here real quick. I'm gonna actually do a little sleuthing. But there's supposed to be a new update today, and if you go to the website, so last week, or excuse me, earlier at the beginning of the week, a bunch of Call of Duty YouTubers got a package from Treyarch. They opened it up, and inside was a projector with slides, and it was this cryptic message. Anyways, they figured out the thing like they always do, and it sent you to a website that is called Pawn Takes Pawn.
Are you talking about that box a bunch of outlets got?
Yes. Now, if you go to the website right now, the TV is on.
Mm-hmm.
They added more stuff to it, and if you put the VCR into the TV, it's playing something right now. And I'm sure it's playing. I'm sure there's like.
Whoop. Phantom, are you still there? Phantom? Phantom! I couldn't help it. I'm sorry. Here, hang on a second. Let me see if I get his attention. Insert 40. He's still in the voice channel. Yeah, I didn't pay for the PhantomShadowz DLC. I got past my trial period. Did I mute him? No, I didn't. I didn't click anything. You don't see anyone in the voice channels, Dustin, because we're in a voice channel you can't see. Here, hang on a second. Let me try doing that to him. Do that. You there? Yeah, I don't hear him.
For them. So if they
Oh,
don't
there we go.
announce anything,
Phantom, we haven't been able to
what?
hear most of what you said for quite a bit.
Really? What happened?
I guess you talked too much shit about COD and they managed to get a hold of you.
I guess.
Yeah,
That's strange.
the last thing I remember hearing from you was TV VCR.
Okay, well, to not drag it on then, effectively, uh, with uh, with the setup that with the COD 2020, they had uh, a video, and in it you can put it in there, and it's playing a whole bunch of stuff from like the 60s, and it's just basically more viral marketing, and it's just another piece in the puzzle. And for me personally, just to sum up everything I said, is I don't necessarily care about the marketing. I just want to see the game at this point. Like point blank period. I had a lot more to say if it caught it, great. If it didn't,
Oh
sorry.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not gonna retread. I'm not gonna retread.
His circle was green in Discord that whole time, guys. He was on a tear. I
So,
was looking at it trying to figure it out, and yeah. Note to self: pushing you into another voice channel and pulling you back gets the sound to work. Okay.
but in any case, I just want to see the game. And it's like I don't care about the marketing. I'd like to see the game, but it is very smart on Activision's behalf to not officially announce anything because of the history that this game has had with Activision pulling the development cycle from Sledgehammer and giving it to Treyarch. Because this year is supposed to have been a Sledgehammer game, and it is not going to be. So now it is going to be Treyarch. So they've had to pick up the development cycle of this game, which they were not ready to do, and effectively go on from there. So by them not announcing anything, them being Activision, they don't have to commit to a release date. So if COD 2020 turns into actually COD 2021, it saves Activision, a lot of headache overall.
I'd been kind of hoping for a long time that that something like that would occur, where they'd make one last for 2 years at least, get the devs on a longer cycle, let them polish the game a little bit more. Maybe they put something out a little bit better, kind of like what's the other one that's suddenly started doing that? Assassin's Creed. Instead of releasing one every year, take a couple years, or at least what do they have? 3 different studios that make their games.
They did have 3 different, but now they only have the 2 because effectively Sledgehammer has been relegated to the salt mines, if you would. Well, and so you can't use that another Call of Duty reskin. Even though I dislike Modern Warfare 2019, and I mean I could go on a real long tangent on that, but even though I don't like it, you can't compare Modern Warfare 2019 to Black Ops 4. They are 2 utterly completely different games in the scope of how they handle certain game mechanics, map design, just the graphical capabilities of it. It's like they're 2 totally different games. Now, the Call of Duty formula, and I say it in that way and throw big air quotes that you can't see around it, is there, but that's really how, it's just a quick, fast, like twitchy shooter. That's what Call of Duty's always been, and that's it, being that arcade-like shooter has made it the series that it is. So I don't agree with the reskin.
If you haven't touched at least one of each of their titles, it's easy to call it a reskin. If you've only played Modern Warfare and I think it was the other one was Infinite Warfare, I think, or Call of Duty Infinite, whatever it was, they feel about the same. But Black Ops is a little bit different. You don't really see it until you play it.
Oh, you're absolutely right, Malik. Call of Duty is a casual shooter. I mean, there's no argument there. I do not argue that point at all. But that's what makes it so popular.
Yeah.
Is it's not Rainbow Six. Like you go to Rainbow Six and you get smashed. Like you will get destroyed because the community. That's all people play.
Yeah,
that's the beauty of Call of Duty is if a new Call of Duty comes out, I can grab that controller off my desk and I have an idea of how to play it and I can be fairly successful.
Yeah, and you could just pick it up. You could pick it up to pretty much any point. It doesn't have to be just when it launches. You could start on Modern Warfare right now and have a good idea what the heck's going on and stand a decent chance. Like he was saying with Rainbow Six. That's why I don't touch that game. I'm interested in it to some degree, but I don't want to get in there, get completely destroyed, have the other teammates down my throat when I already don't like talking to teammates in the first place, and I'd be brand new to the game.
So, but it's like again, Call of Duty, kind of just doing its thing. I'm curious what's going to come from, the new tape. I'm sure if I wait a couple of hours, a bunch of YouTubers, hell, I'm sure they're probably already on it. If I were to search for it right now,
I'm sure if it's not there, it'll be there by the time we stop talking about the next thing. If we jump to something else.
Nope, it's already there. So the people that I generally follow for information already have it up. It's like, holy hell. So one of the guys I watch has a 19-minute, almost a 20-minute video of the teaser. That's pretty intense. So, but I'm not gonna. We already touched on that. So, let's see, or how they might monetize. I do want to point out. You said monetize the game. I don't know if you were talking about Rainbow Six. I mean, Rainbow Six has monetized the freaking hell out of that game. Like, what if you can?
Who talks about Call of Duty for 20 minutes? I don't know, Malik.
I mean, I'm going to move on from Call of Duty, but it's just who talks about it for 20 minutes? It is the number one selling game every year outside of years where they've released like Red Dead or GTA 5. So, and then what was it? I think the first 3 months that that it came out and they had microtransactions, it made like over $1 billion and continues to make it. I mean, whether someone likes it or not, it is a juggernaut, just like how Fortnite used to be.
You want to
Fortnite's
jump
really
on
big.
That one now? Because that one's interesting.
It is interesting. So that just kind of said that was a good segue. I wasn't even ready for that. But what the hell is going on with
clearly Epic has had enough of people overcharging for V-Bucks. Show the Fortnite thing. Dustin wants me to show the Fortnite thing. So I don't even have that connected, Dustin. That's going to be a little bit difficult.
So apparently yesterday, and it might have been yesterday, but Apple pulled Fortnite from the Apple App Store. Effectively, this is over Epic making changes to their V-Buck system. So I'm gonna quote Kotaku just for a little bit, just to kind of make sure that I say it correctly for the audience, if you would. But it says, following Epic's release, again, this is from Kotaku, following Epic's release of its own direct payment method for Fortnite on Apple and Android mobile devices this morning, Apple has removed the popular Battle Royale from its store. In response, Epic has filed legal injunction against Apple. So apparently, the way that it works is Apple has
they charge they charge a little bit more for every one of their little transactions on the thing, just to make just a little bit more money.
Yeah. And it is apparently completely against the TOS of the App Store to do something like that, which of course makes sense for Apple. Now you can agree or disagree, but if it makes sense for Apple to make sure that they get their cut because they need to make money, because of course they do, and it has turned into a big thing. It's not to say that people who have the uh, game on their phone, as of now, it still works, but Microsoft, excuse me, Apple could take steps in disabling that application, via software update, things like that. So they could push it to where the game is inoperable until Epic decides to do what they do. But of course, the legal injunction is going to take a hot second, and it's interesting. I don't disagree with Apple, and I don't disagree with Epic. It's like I want these developers to, get more money, from the things, and they're trying to make it better. But it's like ultimately, if you're going to put something on somebody else's platform, you have to abide by their rules.
They're getting into an amusing fight over it. And just the way, the simple act of discounting the there's pretty much what they did is they just discounted or Epic did was discount the price of V-Bucks to offset the amount you would pay on the Apple and the Android store, because it's kicked off of Google Play too. I found that one out this morning. But yeah, now
I didn't realize it has escalated to getting kicked off of Google Play.
It is not on Google anymore. I didn't know it was on Android in the first, like actually on the Google Play Store in the first place. I thought it was still like off to the side. It shows how much attention I pay to it. Let me see. But I actually find it a little bit amusing. I mean, they're not gonna look like the bad guys in this situation, of course. Epic, but this is an interesting PR move, I think.
I mean, my response is: does Epic really need any more money? It's like for the last few years, they just printed money with Fortnite. You couldn't walk down the street being slapped in the face by a default skin doing the default dance. And I don't even play freaking. Of course, Epic wants all the money. That's all these companies want, Malik. That's the bottom line.
It's not the exact picture my brother was talking about, but that's what he was talking about on screen. That's what he wanted me to bring up. You get the different price. You get the $10 worth of V-Bucks, and now $8. The $20, or not the $25 is now $20. Not that. Okay.
I know they were trying to do some sort of direct purchase.
No, I'm not going to do the video, Dustin. He wants the video. They what was the year? Dang. It was a good video. It's that old video. What was it? 1989? What did you call it? 87? It's the room, the black and white room full of people sitting in front of a screen, and the screen's giving them.
Oh yeah, you're talking about the old Mac commercial. Yeah.
It's got the Oh well, yeah, that makes it even funnier. I didn't realize that part, but it's got that same thing going on with a bunch of the generic looking Fortnite skins sitting there. It's all slack-jawed. Bright Bomber comes into the room with her wooden horse rainbow drop My Little Pony looking pickaxe thing.
If I was streaming right now, I would play that because that's amusing.
Does the whole turn. Here, I'll bring it up. Does the whole turn, and it's a good link, Dustin. It's got the video. I'll just bring it up.
It's just the bottom line is, okay. Both of these companies, they're both, billion-dollar corporations. Of course, I mean, with Apple, of course, being the higher of the two. But it's like I can see both sides, and I don't really have any
headphone warning.
Yep, go for it.
Today, we celebrate the anniversary of the Platform Unification Directives. For years, they have given us their songs, their labor, their dreams. In exchange, we have taken our tribute, our profits, our control. This power is ours and ours alone. We shall prevail.
Yeah, so there you go.
That's pretty good. Whoever did that, I applaud them for that. That's a very nice tongue-in-cheek reference to Apple.
My brother says it's an official Epic Fortnite thing.
That's pretty amusing.
Oh, apparently, there's also a demand for the skin that was there on the screen. Yeah, watch them get pulled for copyright. Watch me get hit for a DMCA.
I mean, as long as they're not using the same, like, because I didn't have sound, I was just watching it. I know the commercial. It's just interesting to see what's gonna happen from all of this. Just kind of the fallout from it. So
shit, I can go into another freaking tangent about DMCA things. I hope the hell I don't get a DMCA for that stupid thing. I'd be pretty pissed off if I got that.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But yeah, that's. I don't have a whole lot else to say other than the entertainment value off of that.
Yeah, I mean, neither do I. It's just interesting to see that this has happened, and I'm more curious about what's going to continue to happen. Like, is Apple and I guess whoever Google, who owns Android, are they gonna make it to where the game is not playable on the devices? Because of course they can do that and other things like that. So
I heard something this morning I saw it on Twitter. I don't know if it was. I didn't check the link. I was half asleep when I saw it, but I saw Epic and other game developers, or Epic's move causes other game developers to rise up against mobile markets or something. Like, wait, what? I mean, if especially after that video, if that starts some kind of weird dev uprising on mobile platforms, I'm gonna need to get some popcorn.
We shall see.
All right. Well, my eyes are turning yellow again. I'll be right back.
Okay. The month mobile gaming died. I don't. I know what you're trying to say, but as much as people hate mobile, and not to bring up COD again, but COD Mobile is just, it prints money. That game is just, I don't play it consistently, but that game is just ridiculous. It is a stupid high money maker for no reason. Screw you, Diablo Immortal. Screw friggin' Activision and Blizzard. There are some games that Apple doesn't take the 30% from. Do you have those games? Because that's an interesting concept if they're not taking those. I would be interested to see what games don't take the 30% or Apple doesn't take the 30% from. We can touch on that, in a bit. So we've got basically 3 more topics that we can hit on. The last 2 are a little weak. They're not going to take that long. They might spur some other conversation. But the one that we're going to touch on in a moment, and I'll bring Miss Shark up to speed when he comes back, just so there's not this lull here, is...
I'm here again?
He's back. So I was just transitioning into talking about Yoshinori Ono. I will enunciate his name incorrectly every single time, even though I can read it off screen. But Ono leaving Capcom.
Oh,
and
there's some more happened with that this morning, just a little bit.
Okay, well, so effectively, I'm gonna say this to start, and then you can transition to what happened because I'm unaware. 2 days ago or so, Ono put up a Twitter post on top of Twitter and effectively stepped down as one of the main producers from Capcom, and now that leaves Street Fighter 6 kind of in the mix of being, what they're gonna do.
He didn't step down. He wasn't even one of the main producers on it anymore. What happened, and the way I've heard it explained, is in Japan, the way they handle you in businesses when they want you out is a little bit different. Is they just demote you repeatedly and pretty much put you in a corner until you give up and leave. Like they try to let you leave on your own terms, but they kind of push you to the side. He wasn't on the part of the development team anymore, as far as I know, for the last few months. I don't remember how many exactly it was. He was part of. They put him into esports recently, so they had taken him off of 6 quite a ways back.
Well, I mean, that makes sense because 5 did so poorly.
5 did terribly.
I mean, I'm underplaying it.
5 was no. There's not a whole lot of people that I know about in the fighting game community. I sit around and I watch people play this all day. Street Fighter 5. There's not a whole lot of. I'm not actively playing them on stream all the time, but I keep up with them. It's been my thing for a while, since the early 2000s. I've been keeping up with it since then. Not a lot of people
discussing
in any Street Fighter 5 and Capcom, and one of the main producers for the Street Fighter games just resigned recently, or the Capcom fighting games, or announced he's resigning. He's not left yet; he's still there. But nobody in any of the circles I hang around, or listen to, or watch, or whatever, have liked Street Fighter 5 to very much of a degree, at least at launch. At launch, it was a mess. You can see it immediately when you look at the game. The characters look different. The gameplay's different. The online is terrible. They were going heavy into esports. Not really listening to the casual players. I think it took a while before the game had an arcade mode. And so that was going on for a while, and the game only started to get better again. Just recently with the last few character updates, when they took Ono off of the thing. The only other time in this console generation I can remember Capcom doing anything decent with a fighting game was this is funny as I've got Mario Kart going in the background while I'm talking about this. Was Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Now, people didn't like the character roster of that game, except for the DLC characters. The game played wonderfully. The online worked really well. But they messed up their launch. I don't remember exactly what it was. I know people were upset at launch. Their social media was a mess. And just... yeah, but that came out after Street Fighter 5. But... a lot of people got excited about it when they started finding out that Ono left, because Ono's been involved with the fighting game part of Capcom for a very long time, and is usually at the head of their development teams. So a lot of people got to thinking he might be the problem. And sure enough, you start to hear that he's getting demoted and stuff, and Street Fighter 5 starts getting better. They've even delayed Street Fighter 6 for another year or two and added another season of Street Fighter 5.
Yeah, the new season of Street Fighter 5 that they announced about a week ago or so has like Dan and Rose.
Oro.
Yeah, Oro. Thank you.
And then
and
what's her face from Rival Schools? I can't remember her name.
Yeah, I can't remember. I'm not a Rival Schools fan, so I'm not going to pretend to attempt to be one or anything.
It almost sounds like Akira, I think.
Yeah, I know. I know specifically that people were freaking out about it. But with those characters, you can tell that they just started because they don't have any gameplay of them. They have basic character art, all of it. So
yeah, the most they had was animations for Dan, that was it. And Dan's their first character, and he's not even coming out till around December.
I know it's going to take a hot second. So it goes back to what I was talking about earlier with Japanese game design, though. You have a game like Mortal Kombat 11, excuse me, Mortal Kombat 10, or Injustice 2. These games, these fighting games that are coming out with this big, story mode, where it's like the story mode in those games is front and freaking center. Everything else is, of course, I don't want to say it plays second fiddle, but it plays second fiddle.
And of course, 11 did it too.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat 11 did it, but I'm saying I'm using Mortal Kombat 10 because that came out before Street Fighter 5, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so.
If I got my timing correct,
it was either before or pretty close. I think the Mortal Kombat prior did it too.
Right. Yeah, Mortal Kombat 9 or just Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
On those systems. Had the story mode, and it retold the first 3 games, and it effectively was just like, this game is amazing, because it has this. We already knew the story, but they did it in such a way that made it better and blah blah blah. I'm not going to rehash Mortal Kombat, but again, with Japanese game development, they are so set in their ways of not wanting to change anything, and you see, and it's why the Japanese market tends to struggle a lot. I mean, hell, you can look at Animal Crossing as a freaking main point to this. It's like they don't change nothing in Animal Crossing at all. Those games are almost the same across the board.
Well, by they I mean the players, the fighting game communities had to fight really hard for quite a while for them to the fighting game developers to start to listen to them about what they want in the games in the first place. And usually the most noise is usually made about the online play.
Well, yeah, because they have, freaking GGPO. And if anybody in the chat at the moment is unaware of what GGPO is Good Game Peace Out. It is a effectively think of it as a system designed, it's rollback netcode, so that if you're playing against somebody, so if I'm playing against Miss Shark right now and his internet dips, it's look it up. Look up GGPO. I don't need to explain it here, but just realize it is rollback netcode to make the online play of a fighting game seamless. Games, I think the game that did it the absolute best was freaking Killer Instinct at launch of the Xbox One. That game had rollback netcode, and to this day, that game plays flawlessly online.
That
and
game is
only
wonderful online.
Yeah, only when you have somebody who has internet from a trash can on Mars will it lag out. But Japanese game developers, some of the biggest companies over there, Banco Namdai, did I really just do that?
Yeah.
Namco Bandai.
Bandai Namco.
I'm glad. Damn Namco. And
damn
Capcom.
That Rambo.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Capcom. I cannot think of the group that makes the Blaze Blue series. I cannot think of them right now. I am drawing a blank. But anyway, like
Arc System.
Yes, Arc System Works. Thank you. Like all of and even more recently, Arc is finally jumping on the rollback netcode aspect of things, and really what it comes down to is they don't. Japanese developers want a proprietary setup so that they can license their own stuff out to other groups. And all of these guys that did that, especially like with Street Fighter V and other games, I'm not going to mention them right now, but Street Fighter V being the pinnacle, since we're talking about Capcom here, it's like, it didn't work. You have this thing that's there, and it's free. The guys who made GGPO put it out and said, "Here, take it."
Yeah, they don't charge for it. They're telling developers to just take it from them. Just take it, use it. You can have it.
Yeah, and they didn't. And Street Fighter V suffered for it immensely. So I mean, on top of Ono doing his thing, and I just hope that this shakeup within Capcom, not just Ono, but the shakeup within Capcom does them good, because they were on a friggin' roll for a while there, and now it just kind of like
Street Fighter 4 was fun. I love Street Fighter 4. I missed that one. Marvel vs. Capcom 3 was pretty good. I mean, it was unbalanced as hell, but it was fun.
Yeah, but that's always how Marvel vs. Capcom has been. I don't expect Marvel.
Yeah, you can't expect it to be balanced when you're standing around in an arcade and all you see is Magneto.
Exactly.
It's still fun. You won't get your butt whooped if you don't know what you're doing, but it's still fun.
Well, so I hope the best for Capcom, and I hope that their fighting division, figures out what they need to do.
I wish I could remember names, but I had heard recently that the Capcom president's son that helped get the action part of Capcom, like Resident Evil and Monster Hunter and stuff like that helped get them back on track, is part of the fighting division right now.
Well, let's hope so. They need it.
Yeah, they've got new faces on it, because there was just that thing last week or the week before. It was a fighting game roundtable, fighting game dev roundtable, and there were two new faces for Capcom that I haven't seen before. Like I say new with air quotes, because I'm told they've been there for a while, but I mean, then on the side note with that though, it did unnerve me just a little bit, because they didn't have very much to say during the whole thing. It was mostly what's his name from Tekken, Harada, I believe.
Yeah, Harada.
Yeah, it was mostly Harada's people talking and the Arc System people talking. So here's hoping. We're not going to see very much from Capcom for a while. I mean, there's supposed to be a new fighting system change coming out at the same time as Dan, but then the next character isn't out for another 3 months, and then the next character isn't out for another 3 months, and we're not even going to have the last one for Season 5 until January of 2022, I believe.
Yeah, it's going to be a hot second.
So
It'll be on the next system.
We're not going to see Street Fighter 6 till 23, I would bet, or 20. Well, anything Street Fighter 6 until 23. I mean, they might not even tease it until then. But anyway.
I mean, just as we transition, it's like just talking about games coming back and into the fold. A random thing happened the other day, and it is the old cable network G4 television is set to make a comeback in some way, shape, or form. I am kind of at a loss for this one, because like with the setup of how the old cable network used to work, I don't know if it's coming back to cable or what the ultimate plan or thought process is, because I mentioned this to you in chat the other day, and that network didn't even have 24 hours to be able to fill with programming without it being excessive reruns.
Yeah, like I said, it was cops and cheaters.
Yeah, cops and cheaters being your main.
Yeah.
And that's paying your bills, and ultimately it didn't even pay the bills because no one was going to watch. Because what did they have? Like Attack of the Show, and the Attack of the Show being like the big one. I believe Olivia Munn was on that.
When I first started watching it, it was because I'd been over to Jessica's house to see it, and because they had satellite there, and that's the only place I saw it. It wasn't on basic cable, to my knowledge. But yeah, it was Attack of the Show. Crap, what was the video games? X-Play, Cinematech. Crap, there was a bunch of other ones. It's not coming to mind right at the moment.
So they did have things like
they had a bunch. They had a bunch of weird ones. They had some esports things going on there. Hell, what's that?
Right. They had. No, I got you. I'm right there with you. They had like GeForce Training Camp and Pulse and a few other, but it's like they also had like really strange things that just doesn't, like, for being on a cable network.
Not as strange as Adult Swim, but still.
Right,
still
but it didn't. But the thing about Adult Swim is it's like that's the bulk set of programming at night that only occupies.
Have you seen them at 2 a.m?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but it's like, another one, Code Monkeys. If we didn't say that already.
Oh my God, I missed that show.
So, but here's the thing: a lot of these shows only ran for 1 year, 2 years. Of course,
season, 2 if they got lucky, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, X-Play and Attack of the Show being their 2 biggest, things that they had on there. But like the strange thing.
Oh yeah,
I didn't even know this. You ready for this? Spaceballs, the animated series.
Yeah, no, I saw that. And it was dumb.
Yeah, but that doesn't. It's like that in 2020. Spaceballs, the animated series. I mean, Spaceballs is a little dated for a lot of people, but that would be a perfect thing for Hulu or Netflix or something where you just do a block and you drop it and people watch it.
I love the movie. And I agree with what you're saying. But the series was stupid. But they had that going. They had the weird animated shows, and my wife just popped into the chat because I think we summoned her talking about it. She was mentioning it, and her and I were talking about it the other day. They had these weird, like, before they had Ninja Warrior, because Ninja Warrior started with them, I think. Or at least in the US here. They had these weird competitions where people, like she's saying, would be going through an obstacle course on a unicycle. There was those people that they had the bicycle one, and they had the there was a pogo stick one. It was like a normal version of what's it called, Takeshi's Castle, the thing they did Most Extreme Elimination Challenge off of.
Right.
I don't know if I got the name right.
No, I think you got it right.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with you, Malik. The movie is freaking awesome. I love the movie. I'm not gonna shit on that movie at all. That's one of those ones where you tell me you haven't seen it, I think there's something wrong with you. But they had some interesting programming. It's nothing that really, other than X-Play and Attack of the Show, that would keep you coming back all that much. It was mostly stuff where you're flipping through the channels. And, this is on. I'll leave it here while I'm doing something else.
I think the best way I can describe what, like...
It's like I don't know if anybody's ever... I don't know if anybody in here has ever seen Kind of Funny. One of the things that goes on Twitch in the afternoons. It's like that, but lasting longer than a couple hours. They take up like maybe about 4 or 5 hours of the day doing things like that.
I think that they could be like if they're trying to put this on network television, like network television doesn't make any dang sense anymore.
Yeah.
Overall, it's not going to be profitable. Like with everybody cutting the cord and blah 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 blah.
I think they'd
like,
do a lot better if they did something like an on-demand service kind of thing, like kind of one of the wild hair channels, or that maybe an off.
I think that they would do well if they did something on YouTube or even Twitch.
I'm glad you said that. I was trying to get to that something like that for a second, because they did try that, or at least what's his face that was running Attack of the Show at first. I think it's Kevin Butler. No, I don't know if that's the right name. He was on Attack of the Show. He was the one there with Olivia Munn at first.
Right.
I think you know who I'm talking about. He tried.
Kevin Pereira.
Yeah, there you go. He tried to do that on Twitch for a few months, and it was exactly the same thing as G4. It was exactly Attack of the Show at XSplit all at once. Like even before they even had in the earlier hours of their channel being live, the kind of thing like Cinematech, where they just show a bunch of odd videos. Like just really like you'd see the old Zelda cereal commercial from mid 90s, or the Mario and Zelda cereal commercial. Like I really didn't know how old I was until I saw that commercial again. But
like the thing is like I said Twitch, but that was just kind of what are we talking on at the moment? We're talking on Twitch. It would do well in small bite segments, not as a show, because the best way I can describe it is
you mean like a YouTube video like a bigger YouTube video. Okay.
Yes, but the thing is you have to be careful, because the guys, like, not to plug, but the guys over at Good Mythical Morning, like Rhett and Link, they tried that very similar format a few years ago, where like when YouTube Red was a thing, and they would basically their normal runtime for a video is about 14 minutes, give or take. Just long enough to get over the 10 minutes, but just but not long enough to where it's getting too long in the tooth. Well, they broke up their daily activity to basically be like a half-hour show, and effectively that was when YouTube was trying to turn their show into kind of like their Good Morning America for YouTube, if you want to think of it that way. It was a horrible idea and backfired completely. Views were down. People weren't seeing other videos because they weren't used to people posting like that. But I think the best way that I can describe how Attack of the Show, X-Play, and all these other things can come back is they launch a G4 channel, and they effectively have their daily upload. They're 100% daily upload, where they have their news segments of the day, other things like that, and that's the daily video that you're going to get on the reg in your subscribe box. And then they have longer shows that get posted, throughout the week. And then people can also, use Patreon and stuff like that.
Whatever they do, I hope it's worth their time, because I thought I was surprised by it, at least, that there was that tweet I showed you. I don't know if I showed you it or you found it yourself. The thing about Olivia Munn in talks to get on with them again, because she's been on TV and she's been in movies. I mean, not all of them were good. X-Men. But I thought she did all right in that Predator movie.
Oh, that Predator movie was just bad.
Well, I thought she did all right, and I thought the movie wasn't that great. I don't expect a whole lot
from
those movies, but yeah, I thought she did okay. I've not seen her on television, just straight up. I know she was on I don't remember the name of the TV show. It was like some office thing or news thing. I can't remember what it was. I know it was some kind of sitcom-ish thing. I at least hope it's worth their time, because they're going to sign her up for something like that, and it doesn't last that long, which is what I'm afraid is going to happen. She's the one I was talking about earlier with on Twitch with Kevin Pereira. I don't know if I got the name right.
Well,
that time.
problem with him being on Twitch was at the time it's like people weren't watching, and then Kevin Pereira is just looking for a job because everything went to crap, and the whole controversy was that he, if I remember correctly, he was like view botting, and of course view botting goes against every ounce of TOS. So it's like he freaking had to bail on it. It just wasn't an interesting premise. But also
is that what happened to it?
If I'm not mistaken,
because I wondered where it went. I like an idiot, I wasn't following them on social media, so I didn't quite keep up with it there. But I mean,
even 6 years ago, back when everything kind of collapsed, it's like YouTube was getting off the ground. It was like starting to explode, and Twitch was also still technically in its infancy. I mean, I guess it was probably a little more advanced, but because when I say Twitch was in its infancy, I need to refer to Justin.tv. That's when it was in its infancy. Yeah. But even still, it's like there weren't like the Shrouds and the Dr. Disrespects and the Tim the Tatman. They weren't on the platform yet, like in mass. I mean, they were building their audience and stuff. Or Ninja, like just a name rattle off. Well, Dr. Disrespect's no longer there, but
it wasn't. Twitch wasn't the powerhouse it is now when he took a shot at it.
Right, and it was all about games. Like, it wasn't how it is now, where what we're doing, the just chatting, was a thing. So he just launched it, or he relaunched G4, so to speak, in a really bad time. And of course, if you G4 being the highest tiered cable package that you can buy, and people losing that channel and having a bad taste in their mouth, of course they're gonna not give a crap about Twitch. So it was just a sign of the times. He was too advanced, if you would, for what he was trying to do. I think the thing that you could probably harken back to is they could make this work because Machinima Respawn worked, and Machinima Respawn had a very similar feel to some of the things that they used to do on G4, and it was only because when CNanners left, like Machinima, I mean, we're going back now. We're going to bring out the way back machine, but like when CNanners left, and it was Mr. Sark and APL, and it was just them kind of doing and Hutch had left. Like they were like hemorrhaging people, but it's like you still look at some of those things, and you could go back at one point before Machinima, freaking collapsed in on itself, and you could go back and see some of those videos 8 years later are still hilarious. You can still see some of like the inbox comments and some of the things that APL and Mr. Sark used to do, and they're hilarious. Even 8 years later, they're a little crude, so let's not underplay that. But it's like YouTube is going to be the place where G4 can thrive if they do it right. And
they need to get out there and learn from the mistakes of other networks. One of the things I think they're going to have a hard time with, though, is kind of a name recognition kind of thing. Okay, because you were talking about it a moment ago, with it being in the highest cable package. It's usually the only way you got to see G4 or Tech TV when it originally started. And if you didn't have satellite or like premium cable, you didn't get to see that channel. So there's a lot of people out there that didn't get to see it. I saw it because I went to somebody's house that had it, or when Jessica and I moved in together, we got lucky enough that it jumped onto the cable package we had. But I mentioned it to my brother when I found out about it last week or the week before, that G4 was coming back. I thought he knew about it. I thought he'd be excited. I told him, and he goes, "What's that?" And then it occurred to me, wait a second, it wasn't on every cable network. It doesn't have the recognition bigger, older channels like you're talking about with Machinima would have had. Because not everybody had the big channels.
Right.
So
I mean,
they're gonna have to advertise the hell out of themselves to get people to notice them again.
But it's like even Attack of the Show being on for 8 years, and X-Play being on for I guess X-Play was probably the longest running one.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit longer than Attack.
It's just like I don't see who is this for? Because also this was at a time where Call of Duty YouTubers. Now I hate to go back to Call of Duty, but it just is easy. It's easy will. But Call of Duty YouTubers weren't out there releasing everything.
Well, you didn't have a lot of internet personalities running around. The YouTube wasn't that big a thing, and it definitely wasn't really live streaming wasn't a thing.
I mean, right now, I have in my subscription box, I literally clicked to YouTube, and in my subscription box, I have 2 videos talking about the most recent teaser for Call of Duty, which came out hours ago. I have a video with new gameplay for Assassin's Creed, or a reminder because they're going to go live they should be going live here shortly. And then Warzone guns and updates. It's like there's so much stuff that is like literally on the pulse of what I'm interested in. So what are they going to do on TV?
Yeah,
if this goes to a television network.
Yeah, the only thing I say, you just got it there. The only thing I was going to say there is they didn't say where they were coming back. They just said they were coming back. I mean, it wasn't like the channels. I don't know. Maybe I misread something. Maybe their channel is coming back. Is Esquire Network still around? Maybe they're going to turn it back into G4, because I know that's what G4 turned into. I still have absolutely no idea why, but yeah. It coming back TV? Is it coming back on demand? Is it going to be like what you're suggesting they do? Is it going to be a YouTube channel? Are they going to come out of left field and be on Twitch? Or suddenly we're going to find a new contender streaming channel or something? That's the least likely scenarios. But
as we kind of wind down here, because we're not going to, the last topic on our list is E3, and we already touched on it effectively, so we're not going to retread that ground. But the interesting thing about all of these things, and just to recap, the Halo delay, the free-to-play, the Xbox Series X and who's it for, the cat and mouse game that Microsoft is doing, Nintendo trolling and kind of just like not really talking about anything, and Ono leaving Capcom, Fortnite being pulled from the Apple Store, COD 2020, G4, E3, all of that. The interesting thing about all these topics is the end result is wait and see.
Yeah.
That was totally inadvertent for the topics we had picked today.
It's funny how they lined up like that, because we weren't really, there really wasn't any uniformity in what we were trying to come up with here. It was mostly Phantom suggesting things. He got 7, maybe 8 things. And then I came in there with, this, after he already had a list out. So that was interesting how all of that kind of lined up.
Yeah, that was weird, honestly. But like it's just a wait and see.
Geez, Phantom, maybe we have some kind of chemistry.
I don't know. maybe I'm just really good at chatting, but that was the whole point of this, is to kind of see how it got off the ground, and hell, close to 2 hours plus in.
Yeah, so, a little over 2 hours.
So, so hopefully it was at least entertaining or informative for anybody who was listening in the chat.
Yeah, I hope so too, because it's something it's something new for me a little bit. I mean, I've kind of done something like that here and there where I'll sit there and I'll ramble to myself, talking to my brother in the Discord channel, where I'll get on one of my dumb tears for a second, or just anybody in chat that'll come and wander in, mostly you, right after I watch one of the presentations. And I was entertained with it the whole time, so I enjoyed it, at least. I hope you did. I hope somebody watching it.
Oh,
did.
I did.
We seem to have kept Malik's attention.
Well, I mean, minus the 2 breaks. I was hoping that we could, keep going and not be too rambly. So hopefully we accomplished that. So I would say
it happened a
a successful first run.
Yeah, we keep doing this.
So.
We're gonna have to come up with some kind of title.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've got a couple ideas, but we'll get together and do that offline.
Yeah.
So.
All right then.
All right, brother. Well, I appreciate you having me on your stream, and to everybody in the chat, thank you for also putting up with my antics. And we will talk offline and do it again. So if you're gonna go ahead.
Anytime, Phantom, I enjoy talking to you about this kind of thing. I think this is going to turn into me sounding like I'm kissing your ass about it, but I thought it was an interesting idea, the podcast thing, and I wish I had tried to do it a little bit sooner.
That's okay. So we now know, and so like I said, we'll get together and we'll go from there. If you're going to stream, and good luck on the rest of your stream. Hope you enjoy it, and I will talk to you later.
All right, later. Thanks for stopping by, man.
Bye, Jet.